Welcome to Thrive in the Mess. I'm your host, Lisa Hutchcraft Whitmer. So, hey friend, welcome to Thrive in the Mess. I'm really glad you're here. We are kicking off some holiday episodes with our little fire and some candy canes. And I have an amazing guest with me. It is her second time on Thrive in the Mess. And it is my friend, Dr. Kelly. Kelly is a psychologist, and we're jumping in talking about when we feel broken at Christmas. And Kelly, welcome to Thrive in the Mess. I have to say, I am wearing the earrings you gave me that you made from porcupine quills, and you gave them to me a year ago. And you are part Native American, and you do beadwork with other Native Americans. And I love these earrings. So they are Christmas earrings with a little bit of red and white, and I don't have a whole lot of red, but I am here with bells on and super excited. I do have a candy cane for you, but I'll have to mail it to you.
Please do.
So if you were here, I'd have you take it out of the little Merry Christmas jug I have here. So nice and red and festive. But thank you for being on the first holiday episode. And I am so thankful. I could think of no one else but you to reach out to. There is a lot of broken where we feel broken at Christmas, and we feel broken at Thanksgiving, and we feel a little broken at holiday get-togethers that involve family and friends, and it's hard to navigate that. Everything seems so perfectly done. Even the commercials for buying something, or the movies we see, or whatever it is, the food, the decorations, the gifts, the relationships, everything seems perfect. Now, sometimes there might be a little mess that they have in a movie, and they tackle it with humor, and there can be some resolution in 90 minutes. We can't always have that resolution in 90 minutes. There's some broken that we may have to make some other decisions. But Kelly, that's why I have you here. I'm just so thankful. I would love to hear some of your thoughts on just when we feel broken at the holidays, and how do we tackle this?
Well,
That's a big question.
yeah, well, you said like sometimes in the movies they can fix it in like 90 minutes. That's part of their plot. But I immediately thought 90 days or 90 years.
Mm,
There are people that have never been able to really have that intimacy
mm,
and that closeness and that perfect home, if you will, that everybody dreams of. And we're kind of promised by these movies, like the Hallmark movies. And it's a difficult thing. So we're in November right now, and Thanksgiving's coming up. And that I'm very thankful. I love Thanksgiving, I really do. But when it comes to family gatherings, they can be difficult. And for some that are listening to this, whether by audio or another platform that you're using, they may have an empty chair, and somebody was there last year, but they're not there this year. And so, empty chairs, I know that experienced that within my home. We've had a lot of loss over the
mm.
decades. And if you can think back to that first holiday without them, so that's the first thing that I would like to address is the missing, the empty chair. It's
Yeah.
interesting because in psychology there was a theorist, and he had a technique called the empty chair, and
Mm,
people would talk to the empty chair as if somebody were there.
mm,
And usually they did that when you couldn't say it to the person. So so the empty chair, somebody may not be there. And and so if you actually are an individual that's listening to this or viewing this, and it's your first holiday without them, depending upon the degree of intimacy within a relationship, how close you were to them. So I'll say, first of all, let's assume that that person was one of your balcony people. They were in your like balcony cheering you on. They
mm,
were perhaps a person that was the only person to get you. I've had clients tell me, even this week, somebody told me that they felt known and seen by their grandmother, and their grandmother will not be there this year. And so it's interesting also for me, Lisa, because my mother was born on Thanksgiving. Yeah,
Really?
and
Wow.
and she was born on her mom's birthday. So my grandma and my mom shared the same birthday. So November
Wow.
24th, sometimes that this year it's 27th, it's on the 27th, but many years they would celebrate Thanksgiving and their birthdays together. So it's a
Wow.
double
So
whammy
you had pie
for,
and cake.
yeah, exactly. Right. Oh yeah, pie and cake.
Like we don't have enough calories on that
Yeah,
day to
right?
begin with.
Oh, don't get me going. I do love that about Thanksgiving, the gathering around. In my family, they were really great cooks.
Mm.
But the the first chair that was empty was when my grandmother was gone, and
Oh.
then my mother. So that empty chair is really hard to look at. So I would encourage some of you, oh, all of you, if it's very, very difficult, what do you do? You have to move through it. You have to feel to heal. And
Mm.
I say as difficult as it is, you have to feel it because we feel to heal. And it's another way to acknowledge them.
Yeah, and Cal, I remember very well the first year my mom passed away in May, and she made the holidays amazing. Mom was just one of a kind with that. And I found myself dreading the holidays coming. And I'm like, but I love the holidays. And um, so I ended up making an intentional choice to lean in and do some things, some of the same traditions.
Mm.
And of course, we had some of our own family traditions with my immediate family, with my husband and children. But I also decided to do some things differently, like celebrating my dad's birthday and my aunt's birthday because she was my mom's sister. So we did something totally different to celebrate them
Mm.
for their birthday. And we've actually done that the same way for the past 9 years now. So
Wow.
taking them out to a special meal and instead of another gift, because it was just something I loved that idea and I was excited about something new and an intentional choice when things were hurting. And because
So
of that empty chair. But that
so
was a
what you
choice that
did,
I had to
yeah,
make.
you chose to start a new tradition, and it doesn't throw out the old at all. Not saying that your
Mm,
mom was old. I love
exactly.
your mom. But so you did that. Was your first holiday without your mom Easter?
No, the first holiday, actually, we had Mother's Day. She died a week later, and I kind of look at the first one without her was my parents' anniversary and Father's Day, but the
Oh,
real
wow.
meaningful ones were Thanksgiving and Christmas and just lots of holiday things and the way she transformed the house and just all the different things. So I like what you're saying of making some choices, moving forward, and I do think there are special ways to celebrate our person
Yeah.
and still be able to say, you know what, it's okay because part of me almost felt like I was because my mom had so much joy and we shared so much laughter together, as you know. And part of me felt like I was almost betraying my mom because of stepping into such a joyful season. And that was something I had to kind of wrestle through and just say, Lisa, I have to be here for the living also,
Yes.
for my children and others in my family.
Yes.
And so that
That's
was a
right.
choice about living. And I knew my mom would be about that. So many of our loved ones, I can't speak for them, but I do feel like they would want us to go on and celebrate life and enjoy life with our loved ones, with our friends. with our family and
Yeah.
step out into a new season and not feel guilty. I think sometimes we can just choose to step into a new season and not have to feel like we need to drag our feet or feel badly that we're stepping out and being joyful, enjoying the lights, enjoying the food, enjoying the ambiance, creating fun and creating celebration, because that's what the holidays are. Thanksgiving is being thankful. It's in the name. And
Yeah.
my goodness, if when I don't take time to be grateful, I think for me, I end up being more self-focused, and choosing to be thankful is important for me to think outside myself and to say, okay, God, you know what? You really have shown up this way this year, and seeing God sightings in our days and just other holiday get-togethers. I think that year we also chose to do some different things with our family, with some friends, because I was like, what am I going to do? Sit at home
Right.
and curl up in a ball? And, or am I going to choose to intentionally create some spaces and time to celebrate? And then Christmas, my goodness, what joy. We literally have hope that came to
Yes.
earth, the birth
Yes.
of Jesus, and the joy that he offers and hope that he offers to a broken world. And when we feel broken at the holidays. But sometimes we hear those Christmas carols, Joy to the World, and we're like, well, I'm not
Yeah.
feeling that joy right now. So that was a choice the year my mom died, and stepping into a season that she had created so much, and to choose not to feel badly stepping into celebrating.
Because that's false guilt. And there's a couple, uh, one of my mentors has told me, and I think you know him pretty well. And he said that um, you actually, there's guilt and there's shame. And
Mm.
guilt says, I made a mistake. And shame says, I am the mistake. So when you go to
Ooh,
false guilt and look at it through that, you say, you know what? Were you guilty? Were you guilty? I don't think
mm,
so. So we have to look at our guilt and say, okay, did I make a mistake?
mm,
Can I release that? Have I asked forgiveness for that? In this case, it would be false guilt to
mm.
have joy and celebrate the relatives of your grandchildren, your children, their grandchildren, your mom's
Right.
grandchildren. And so that's one lens to look at it. The other thing that you had just described earlier, you had said about like really enjoying the people, the living people.
Mm,
And one of the things that I've said for years, and it and I'm going to say it again here, it's live for the living.
mm.
Because so often when we get so like in our grief and we're holding it as if it's a cloak of
Right.
comfort, it's not. We
Mm,
can move through the grief, we can identify it, acknowledge the individual, acknowledge the loss, and live for the living.
mm.
Otherwise, through losses, we miss the people that are in front of us and we don't see them.
Wow.
And
Right.
so,
Oh,
and
that's so
then,
good, Kel.
and you had
Wow.
talked about how you had went through that, and you talked about like, okay, I'll find some friends and we'll do things differently. I had heard somebody, I can't even remember who it is at this point, but it wasn't in a book. They were just saying it in I was scrolling. So I had seen this video, and the video had said mess, the acronym for mess.
Mm,
If you want to get out of your mess, you need to move. This person was speaking my language. You need to move. You need to eat, sleep, silence. That's meditation,
wow.
and socialize. So what
Wow.
you had done, yeah, I know that's mess, the acronym for mess. I added another S, it's sing.
Right.
So if you're going to move through the holidays, and we are going to move through the holidays because they are going to come and they are going to go, and you need to be at the table. You
Mm,
need to be present with them.
mm,
But socialize, yes, be present. I am
mm,
positively known in my family as being there, but not being fully there from my past. In my
Mm,
past, I would come home to family reunions and family gatherings, and do you know, I would be there, but I wasn't all there. It
mm,
was, for me, it wasn't just the loss of people. It was just that it was a family reunion to me, and they weren't
mm.
always fun. So, yeah,
Kelly, I you can answer this however you want,
sure.
but when you say that, I know your family has walked through some hard times and it's different for everyone in life. Kelly, you've really walked through some different things in life that have been very challenging and difficult. And yet you have walked through and done the hard work, as you often will say. Can you just give us a little rundown of some, when you say life is, some of those hard family reunions, all of you kind of went through some of those. Is
Oh,
that
sure.
right? And
Because it's generational trauma. We know
mm,
about historical trauma within our Native communities. We talk
mm,
about historical trauma, and then there's generational trauma. And so
right.
what happens is, if people aren't really taught or they don't know what to do with it, they just
Mm,
keep repeating it and we keep duplicating it. So I had duplicated this beautiful gift I had observed in my mother, which I'm
mm,
being sarcastic, but in a lighthearted type of a way.
right,
I
right.
was angry. And I had talked
Mm,
about that on another episode. It was episode 2 of Thrive in the Mess, if I
yeah,
believe,
yeah.
remember. So for my mother, uh, it was just like she came into our family, or
Mm,
I actually came in her family,
right.
which, and I was born a twin. And I'm very grateful the fact that I am a fraternal twin. And but this week, in fact, on Wednesday of
Mm.
this week, in 2 days, it will have been 43 days since my twin brother passed. And that was right before Thanksgiving, which was right before my
Oh,
mother's
wait,
birthday,
43 years?
43 years ago.
Oh
Yeah, I'm
my
59.
goodness.
Yay.
Can I say something, Cal? I
Sure.
know one of the things that I really respect about you is that even though you have walked through some significant loss, you have tried to honor some things in the moment. Like, I love that you have something. It's the place you go get your Christmas tree. I don't know if you've always done that. I know you did last year, but it's called Tommy's Acre. Your
Yes.
twins after your twin, isn't it? And I just love that, the honoring. Can you just kind of talk about how you honor him in that way and why
Yeah.
you chose to name it Tommy's Acre?
Because when we were little, and I was a little kid, I'm not much taller now, believe me. We went to a
Kelly.
place. I live in Northeast Michigan, and we were raised actually in Northeast Michigan. I live in the very same zip code. I live like less than a mile from the house where I had a lot of trauma, but I also had beautiful
Oh,
memories. We can't throw those
mm,
out. And I
wow.
just wanted to mention that any if anybody were to like have known me, let's say 15, 20 years ago, I hadn't really done a lot of healing at that
Mm,
point because we heal in increments. I
mm.
still was like withholding. And it's been over the last 15 years and specifically the last 10, and praise God for the last 5 when I moved back
Wow.
here and live in the well, I won't give the zip code, but
Right,
it
right.
starts with 49. And so here I am, and it's November 19th, this Wednesday at Tommy's
Mm,
Acre. When we were little kids, we went to a place called Hayden's Acres, and it was this beautiful place, and it was on the river, and we were friends with the owners, and she was so nice to us, Mrs. Hayden. She'd give us bread bags for our snow boots, and we'd go in there and have hot chocolate. So Hayden's Acres was a very big memory for all of my siblings.
special
And
memories.
yes, and
Wow. Wow.
especially Tommy. So when Tommy passed
Oh,
away when we were 16, and he was hit on the very same road that Hayden's Acres is on, and I still drive by that. In fact, later today, I'm going to drive right past it. Guess
mm.
what I'm doing this year? I am putting a cross up on Tommy's acre. Tommy did not get to grow into being acres. So an
Oh,
acre is like a year to
right.
me. So he had 16 acres, but that's
Mm.
not a lot.
You're still honoring him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so on Tommy's acre, I bought that property. It's never been built upon. The first thing that's going up on that is a cross, and that's going up
Wow.
on November 19th.
Ah,
This year on Tommy's Acre, which is a place that I'm going to just make memories, because the motto for Tommy's Acre is make memories, not money, because you can always make more money. Maybe not a
mm,
lot, but you can certainly make more money than memories, and certainly not. I'll
wow.
never have more memories with Tommy. So that's
Right,
going
right.
up.
But in a
Um,
way, you are
yeah.
because of getting your tree from there
Oh,
and
yeah.
putting a cross up there. Kelly, why are you putting up a cross?
Um,
Because after all the junk you've been through in life, all the hard stuff, why in the world would you say, I believe in God?
well, that's a great question, because it's interesting that two things come to my mind. First of all, that God's plan was not for the trials and the trauma. His perfect
Mm,
plan, okay? So God's perfect plan is not for us to have trials and trauma.
mm,
His perfect
right.
plan involved him coming and descending on this earth and
Mm,
being that greatest gift so that I can have hope. But better yet, I don't grieve as those without hope.
mm,
And I've never been angry at God. I
mm,
know a lot of people that do, and I even have, when I do intensive trauma therapy with people, I have a pair of Everlast boxing gloves, and I
mm.
have them put them on. I'm saying, you got to go for a walk and you got to duke it out with God.
I was
Because,
wondering, do you have them duke it out with you? I'm like,
no,
yikes.
no, they put them on, and I say, go for a walk,
Wow.
because, or if you don't want to walk around with ever, and they do, I do kind of make them do that. But I'm like,
Yeah.
go for a walk, and you have that
And
thought.
God can handle that. He can handle when we're upset. He can handle when we're devastated and crying and angry. And He's big enough to handle all that.
Yeah, and he's not surprised, and he's omniscient, and he
Right.
knows our
Right.
thoughts. So we just, for those that can't go for a walk, I say just talk it out in the shower, cry.
Mm,
But here's the
mm,
thing about crying. When people have a trauma, right? Or there is something like, we hear this, like,
mm,
we've heard this in videos that we've observed on TV with mass shootings. They're
mm,
horrific things that have happened in our
mm.
world. And what do people cry out? Oh my God.
Right. Right.
They pray.
Crying out to
They
Him.
are
Right.
crying out. Oh, they're like, they're acknowledging God in
Mm,
a trial and in a traumatic period of time. And
mm,
that's when people pray.
mm.
And why did I not for Tommy? Because Tommy knew him. Tommy knew Jesus personally. He accepted him into his heart. He acknowledged that
Mm,
he confessed with his lips
mm.
that Jesus was Lord. And I was with Tommy just probably 5 minutes before he went to heaven, before he was hit by
Oh
that
my
car.
goodness. Wow.
Truly. And you know what we did together? We sang.
Mm.
So when I said earlier,
Just
move
5 minutes before?
5 minutes before, because we were
Wow.
separated. That's the other thing. Some people are going through holidays now. This is their first Thanksgiving without their spouse who may have left them,
Right.
or like intentionally, they're still living. So we have people that have traumas because of something that they are experiencing, not a separation from death.
It's a
No,
different kind of broken.
it's a
Right.
different kind of broken.
Right.
And so that separation was when I
Mm,
was 14 years old and came home, and there were 6 children in the house, 3 were gone. I came home to my stepfather crying in the chair where my mom used to read her Bible, and she
mm,
left and took Tommy. She took
mm,
Becky and she took Melinda. I don't know, we still to this day do not know how things were chosen. But
mm.
the point
Right.
is that that I was not living with Tommy that year because
Mm.
he was with my mom, and I ended up, I was at the time I was living with an aunt, my aunt and uncle,
Mm.
who still to this day won't like accept the fact that, you really helped save my life. You
Mm.
really, you provided a safe place for me.
Wow.
And we had a
Right.
beautiful
In the
dinner
middle of the
together
mess
in the middle of
that you
this
had no
brokenness,
choice. Right.
brokenness and mess. And
Yeah.
then we were singing. So Tommy and I were then singing. And we had dinner there, and it was getting dark, and he had to walk not even that far. But we sang together. He told me about a girl he was interested in named Missy.
Wow.
And we sang songs that our Sunday school songs. And one
Kelly,
of
what a
them,
gift.
yeah,
Like right
yeah,
before he stepped into eternity. And oh my goodness, after the grief you had experienced, the loss of, not even being with your twin. And what a gift right before that. And then I love, again, Tommy's Acre and just you choosing that's one of the choices of choosing to celebrate the person, choosing to live life in the now. You could be devastated because like you said, November, it was your mom's birthday on
yeah.
Thanksgiving, fell on Thanksgiving a lot of times. And then you had the loss of Tommy, which is the day this is being released. And I had no idea the timing, that this would
Well,
even
God
come
does.
out and
Yeah,
all.
God does. And even if people are listening to this and it's 2027, I
Right.
want to tell you that God's timing is perfect. And
Mm.
we can question him if we want, but and we can be angry at him, he can take it, but why lose time? Why lose more time? We live for the
Mm.
living. And I have to tell you that I do want to talk a little bit about trauma from those people that in the brokenness, it's traumatic. So it's traumatic. I
Mm.
had this, we all lost Tommy.
Yeah.
But what I didn't know was that one of my cousins, his birthday was on November 19th. I never knew that till like five years ago.
Oh, wow.
So I missed my cousin's birthday because
Mm.
he was like 17 or 18. I'm 16. We're not exactly sending birthday cards when we're teenagers, right?
Right.
It's like, hey, happy birthday, right? We're there for the party.
Right.
And then, so this Wednesday, I am taking him, he's in town, and I'm going to take him out to lunch. And we're celebrating
Wow.
him. But when November hits, so we talked about generational trauma and how
Yeah.
that it can duplicate it, but we can also stop that because
Mm.
scripture even talks a lot about how you can stop generational sin.
Mm.
And we
Mm.
can't do that on our own.
Mm.
And the only difference that I make is because of Jesus. And I want to tell you, because when I told you the gift that I inherited from my mom, from her personality, was anger. I
Mm.
was an angry person, and hurt turns to anger. And anger turns to bitterness, and bitterness turns to wrath, and wrath turns to malice, and malice
Mm.
turns to murder. Not that you're going to kill somebody, but even the thought of taking your own life, that's murder. You're you're dying at your own hand, but that is a choice.
Mm.
So, for anybody that when it
Mm.
when it comes to trauma, please know this. You have to acknowledge your hurt. You have to say this hurt me.
Mm.
You can be angry, and that's okay. It is not a sin to be angry. It can be if that's where we want to stay and we act out in
Mm.
malice with malicious words. But we have an opportunity
Wow.
to address our trauma. We have an opportunity to move through our trauma differently.
Mm.
So there is not just generational, but a biological age of trauma. And there's something about November. And I have to tell you, it's similar to how I usually felt the first part of May during Mother's Day
Mm.
after the loss of my mom.
Right.
It You don't even have to tell me it's November. If I was blind and didn't have a calendar or any type of
Your body.
technology, my
Right.
body remembers.
Right.
It's the smell in the air, and my
Mm.
body recalls that, and the depression sits in. And
Mm.
I used to lose Novembers. I can't tell you how many Novembers I probably lost over maybe 2 years of Novembers.
Wow.
So
How do
that's two
you
years of my
not
life if
do
I
that?
lose November.
Wow. How do you not lose November? If you're someone who is like, okay, this time of the year, that's it for me. Or how do you have just a simple win with that of not letting that affect you? How do you stop that?
Okay.
Because we
Well,
do feel it in our body and our spirit and, our emotions.
yeah, I'm not telling people not to feel it. I'm not telling
Right.
people that, get on with it. No, because as we know with grief, we don't, people say, well, do you have any hope for me? Like, how
Mm,
can I get through this? It's
right.
individual, depending
Mm,
upon the relationship, depending upon your own personality, everything. There are some people that refuse to be comforted.
mm,
But for me, I love the name of God, the Prince of Peace. I love that one.
mm,
But mighty counselor. Nobody else could reach me.
mm.
I could have went to counselor after counselor, but nobody could reach me. But the mighty
And you're a
counselor did.
counselor for people,
Yeah,
and I
well, that,
love how you
yeah.
point people to the mighty counselor, the one who
Well,
loves us and made us, and yeah.
if the truth is this, that if we could sell peace, like, there's thing, it
Mm,
would, if peace came in a medicine bottle, and some people think it does, it doesn't.
right,
But if it did, and I could say, hey, I'm going to prescribe this peace for you, it would be flying off the shelves like
right.
bread in a snowstorm in Northeast Michigan.
Billionaire
Literally. Yeah.
billions of times over because
But
everyone wants it, right.
even with that, or the,
Mm,
the medicines that say take as needed for anxiety, all you have to do is just be patient with yourself because
mm,
you
mm,
grieve differently. It will get better. Every day for a year, I
mm,
cried. I woke
mm,
I woke up in the morning crying and I went to bed crying for 1 year. And
mm,
I don't know, for me it was like and after 1 year I remembered because I wasn't a
yeah,
crier. I'm like, I use humor as my defense mechanism,
mm.
and we have different defense
And you are
mechanisms.
funny.
Well, thank you. Thanks for noticing. But so when it comes to trauma, people have fight, flight, freeze, and they added fawn. So
What's
some
the
people,
last one?
fawn,
Okay,
FAWN, like a deer,
okay.
like it's deer. Yeah. Okay.
Right, right,
But
right.
so you have the fight, and some people just when they experience it and they get triggered, they just fight.
The
Right?
gloves that you talk about in
Put
a
the
way,
glove. They
almost.
just
Right.
and they can fight with their words. They could fight. They might break
Mm,
something. Then there's flight. Some people just peace out, Girl Scout. I'm out of here.
mm.
They're runners.
Is
Then
flight maybe also like if someone just smiles and says, okay, I'll just push through the holidays and recover in January? Is that a version of flight? If you just
no,
try to
that's
slap a
the form.
smile?
That's we have three different things to do with emotions. Great
Hmm.
question, by the way. Three things to do when we are experiencing intense emotions. There's repress. That's denial.
Mm,
It's just like so. If this is the emotion, I'll say my coffee cup, right?
mm.
Then and I feel it. I start to feel it, and it's well. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Wait from our sponsor, and then I say, nope, I'm not going to feel that. I
Right.
That's suppression.
Mm,
You feel it and you push it down. That increases anxiety and agitation.
mm,
So that's suppressing.
mm,
Repress is just absolute denial. I'm actually holding my coffee
mm,
cup. You can't see it right now, but I promise I am.
mm,
And then there's express. So that's when, not like
mm.
espresso, but you
Right.
express your emotion. And if you can't do that safely to the person that you feel triggered by,
Mm,
then you had to at least acknowledge it to yourself.
mm,
So repress, denial. That's not fair to yourself. To deny your own emotions that were probably denied for year after year, whether from an ex or even in childhood
mm,
or other things in life. Maybe it's a job. Some people are actually, maybe they don't have the same job that they've had.
mm.
Or forced to
And a
resign
financial
or
hit,
yeah.
there's all kinds of broken,
And I
right?
do
And
want to, yeah. So that is something that you have repress, suppress, express. You at least
mm,
acknowledge this is painful. Now,
right.
what do you do when so you asked about flight. Flight is
Yeah.
more, that's like what I used to do. I'd come home for family reunions. I'd drive 16 hours from
Mm,
Virginia, where I was at university, and then I'd come home and I would be not tired from the drive because I had no dose and Mountain Dew,
mm.
but and
That's
coffee.
a healthy combination
Yeah,
right
my
there.
mom loved that. She laughed and laughed. But what would I do? I would take a nap.
Mm,
I was known to just go to the party and then
mm,
I'd go find a bed to sleep in or I'd lean against a wall. I wasn't fully present, even though I
mm,
was there. So flight for some people is just sleeping. You
mm.
just want to sleep. So there's lots of
Leave
different,
the situation in
yeah.
some way and not being present.
But
Okay.
usually they talk about the flight as in I'm out.
Right,
At
right.
least you're trying. If you make it to the meal, and then you have to set a boundary. So see,
Mm,
boundaries are very important because you may, and you had talked about this earlier, Lisa, around the table, whether Christmas or any holiday, there's going to be people that believe differently, and they're just going to keep talking about it. And these are 4 words that I've told my clients in the past, and I'll tell you now. When you get in that struggle, like this is, I'm holding a
mm,
rope, and
mhm,
you're like, it's like they're pulling this way, and or whatever. It's You can say you may be right. You're not saying they are right, and you're not saying you're wrong. So if somebody's trying to pull you into their belief, and you know what,
mm.
you're listening if you believe as I do,
Or
you
just
know,
trying to bait you
yeah,
into
you may be right,
yank your
or
chain, however people say it. Right, right.
yeah, and just say, you know what, you may be right, or
Mm,
I prefer not to talk about this.
mm,
And then if they persist, you don't have to respond.
mm.
See,
Right.
boundaries protect what we love, and many of these people that we have boundary problems with are people that we love. It's not for lack of love for some people, it's lack of
Mm,
understanding. And people
mm,
will believe differently. I have friends that believe differently than me, and I have family that believe differently than me. And thankfully, I have family that do believe similarly, and that creates a closer relationship. But you can still have a close relationship with people that believe differently.
right, right. Oh yeah. And so jumping back to the fight, flight, and I forgot the third one.
Freeze.
Freeze. Can you
Yep.
talk a little bit about freeze and fawn?
Yeah. So freezing is just when a person just like they stop, like they freeze,
Mm,
meaning they can't move, they can't
mm.
speak.
How do you walk through the holidays if that's your reaction?
If Well, you can move through the holidays. It's usually that point in time when you're with people that don't make you feel safe.
Mm,
So there are some people that will be in a room with somebody and they have an unresolved conflict, or that
mm,
person is just, you know, they're that individual that you don't feel safe with
mm.
is the person that you have to be around. You have to go, and they're not the fun drunk uncle. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like they have that in movies, the drunkle they call them. It's
right.
not like that. So for me, uh, when I would get around some people, I was more of a flight. But for a person who's in fight, then they would just like keep at it, and then you're both exhausted.
Mm,
But freeze is when
right.
you're just sitting there because you're at the table and it's like something's happening here and you just freeze. You can't move. It's not like you're
Just pass me more
frozen.
stuffing. Right,
Yeah.
right.
Like you're just
Excuse
like,
me, I'm gonna go get some pie while yeah, yeah.
because when I talk about
Wow.
biological age of trauma, what I'm talking about is we can become that age. So when I'm under stress, I can be a 14-year-old, 14 to
Is that
16.
Is
Yeah.
that when trauma entered your life? Is that what that means sometimes, biological age, that
Yeah.
it's when
So
it
some
entered your
people,
life? Or
if you've ever heard people, sometimes biological age of trauma is usually the most significant trauma in your childhood.
okay,
So
okay.
for me, it was 14. I survived a lot up to 14, trust me.
Right,
But 14 was the most traumatic. I was separated from
mm,
my siblings and specifically
right,
my twin, who was my first roommate, and we had never really been separated. We weren't like,
right,
I
mm,
mean, we had sibling rivalry,
uh,
and
right,
so I can be under stress, a 14-year-old that is basically, wow, fun. It's like
yeah,
I just become like that. I didn't know what to do.
right,
But I
right.
didn't really freeze. And some people are private sufferers. So people didn't even
Mm,
know, and I wasn't communicating about it. So I just stuffed it
wow,
when I was
right.
14.
Well, who do you talk to when you're 14 too? Sometimes if,
Yeah.
especially when other family have made decisions that have hurt you very
Yeah.
deeply too and affected you. That last one about fawn, Kelly, can you touch
Oh,
on that one?
that's new, but it's really not new. It's been around, but they didn't know what to call it. It's people
Mm,
pleasing.
okay. Right,
So
right.
you will have a dominant one of those. Speaking Keeping in mind that what we're talking about is how people respond when they feel threatened, which
Mm,
it triggers like a trauma, a memory. Your body remembers it wasn't
mm,
safe before, and you just freeze, take flight,
mm,
or fawning is people pleasing. So I
mm,
find myself actually trying to people please. I'm more of a fawner now because I'm not running and I'm not taking flight. I noticed even this month that I people please. I'm like, oh, let me
mm,
try to do this and I'll try to do that and I'll give more.
mm.
And so we're talking about,
Which can lead to financial
yeah.
issues if you're
And you
trying
know
to,
what?
right, right.
We have to be careful with that. Not just because
Yeah.
of the financial thing, because it could also, you're trying to overcompensate for something that can't be replaced. So
Ah,
lots of
right.
times relationships do that because you can't replace something that you have done. You have
You
to reconcile.
Right. Kelly, even with what you're saying of getting together with the cousin who your twin died on his birthday,
Yeah.
but this year you're choosing to celebrate his birthday, that cousin's birthday. And I'm sure his day was really overshadowed by such a loss in the
Yeah.
family and it gets slips to the side, but in the middle of doing that you can't make up for like however many birthdays over the years and even that really traumatic one for everyone. But I love the choice you're making of celebrating him now, years later, and going out with him and celebrating his life. So, but how do you get past the feeling of I have to do more, I have to make up for all of this, because we really can't,
I
right?
tried.
That seems like it's a never winning, never won battle of trying to make everything perfect
You
from
don't
through
have
all the
enough
years.
money. You don't have
Mm,
enough money. There is not enough money. I was thrown
mm,
so much money trying to make up for my siblings'
mm,
bad childhood.
mm,
Just like this okay, you didn't get to go to Disney. We'll go to Disney. Okay, we're going to go here. That I threw thousands of dollars every time I'm trying to make up. No, what? I wasn't a mom. I wasn't the
mm.
mom. I can't make up for it. I
Right.
wasn't the
Her choices, your
Yeah,
mom's choices, or
yeah.
whoever's choices
Right.
that were not in your control, we
Oh,
can't fix those.
yeah. No, we can't. We can't be the father that left them. We can't
Mm,
be the
right.
husband you cannot possibly make up for it. So what we do when we fawn, we we will either give more compliments and or we'll just like fawn over the person. We will
Mm.
open up our pocketbook. We will end up spending more, and it doesn't replace it. It
Right,
just there's
right.
no replacement for it. But
Mm.
and then we keep in mind that for me, my cousin Randy, whose birthday is on November 19th,
Mm.
that he had a relationship with Tommy.
Mm.
So he was grieving Tommy. And
Right.
so what I'm doing is a reframe. It's when you put a
Mm.
different frame around something and it
A
pops the light.
reframe.
It's reframing it. Just like,
Say that one more time. You put a frame around it
yeah,
and
I'm reframing it. I'm taking the off that bad picture with the dark shadows around it, and I'm putting a gold one. You can't see the picture
mm.
behind me, but it has a dark frame around it. But if I put a lighter frame around it, then it would pop the yellows more.
Mm.
But now we see the browns and the whole thing. You're looking at things differently. So I'm
Mm.
going to reframe November 19th on that
Wow.
day, and I'm not, we live for the living. That's
The
the
day of
reframe.
loss.
Yeah. And
Wow.
I've never
How
thought of
can
that
someone do
before.
that?
What's
How
that?
can someone how can someone do that looking ahead at their dreading do they stay at home or do they choose to step into okay, I'm going to show up to Thanksgiving with family, friends, whatever, or that holiday get together or that Christmas celebration. How can someone reframe that? Do you have any tips on that to just give them a win with that?
Well, here's a win. You show up for yourself
Mm,
and you go for yourself and
mm,
you go for others as well. But you say, how many rooms are in that house? And if somebody is trying to talk to you about something and you feel not cornered, but I'm going, pardon me, but I'm going to go talk to Aunt Edna.
mm.
Pardon me, I'm going to go talk to Aunt Mary. Uh, because
Or
it is,
stay well hydrated and use the restroom
and speaking of
frequently.
hydration, I just have to say, um, the holidays, there's a lot of alcohol usually in
Mm,
some homes, not your home. And
mm,
I just want to let you know that if you actually do not drink alcohol, if you can say, you know what, because if you think you're just going to have one, usually it's not one and done, then you can remain in the right mind, the right frame of
mm,
mind.
mm.
So if it's worth it to you, but some people say, well, I couldn't make it through a holiday without alcohol. And this is
Mm.
really true, Lisa. There are a lot of people that use that as an anesthetic, and it
Right,
does
right.
not anesthetize. It will actually make it worse
Mm,
because then you're not actually able to really communicate because some people actually are nicer, some people aren't. I'm not going to go
right.
into the details about that. Anybody listening that knows what I'm talking about, I would say if you truly want to stay in the right frame of mind and
Mm,
not leave with feeling regret, because that's usually what people do. They'll try to pull you in, and then it's just poke, poke, poke. And the next thing you know, you lose your temper,
mm.
and that's what they remember.
Right, right.
They don't
So
they
for
don't even have to be poking you actually, Lisa. They can actually
right,
just be doing that sweet thing, but it's actually, not
right.
you don't believe them. What were you gonna
Mm.
say?
Oh, so maybe instead keep a bottled water handy for hydrating
Yeah,
and
bottled,
right.
bottled, some cranberry juice, some water,
And it
whatever.
might be a win for someone to, from what you're saying, to maybe not choose alcohol at one of these holiday get togethers
I
if
would
it
give it a
helps them
try.
get it through.
Positively, I would say, it's really if you try something different.
Mm,
If you know what? If they're always traumatic, but for me, it was like, yeah, I was the sober one, and I'm the one that remembers everything. Oh, nobody
mm,
else really remembers what they said or did,
mm,
but I do, and I have the painful memories.
mm.
But I now get to
Wow.
choose when I leave. And by the way, I want to let you know I have an amazing family. I love all my
Mm,
family members. I'm talking mostly about really early childhood stuff, and then into
Mm.
my like adulthood.
Right.
But truly, it's not for
When you
lack
don't
of
have
love.
control over the
Yeah. Oh,
choices
right,
is,
because
yeah,
that's what trauma is. Things are outside of your control. So you control the things
yeah.
that you can. Because I have this as an illustration. Do you know what this is?
Is that it goes on a pan, doesn't it?
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
uh this is one of those that actually uh in the olden days they actually had the olden days back when we were kids. No, just kidding. They had these
You're young at
small
heart, Kel.
small pot-belly stoves, and then you would put they had they didn't have room for all the pot handles. So what they did was they had the pots in one handle so that you could just click on it,
Oh,
move it around,
okay,
and you can move
yeah.
move around these hot pots. So I hope that some of the things that we have shared that
Mm,
'cause we've talked about some hot pots that could be messy, right? And you're going to move them around, and you can do that in your
mm.
own strength, or you can do it in the strength uh,
Uh,
of, well, for me, it's Jesus. I like cry out to
right.
him. I'm already been on my knees praying in my hot tub for the holidays and that I would live not as those without hope, but that I would actually be
Mm,
that bright light at a family gathering or wherever I go, and people say, "You're
mm,
so happy." I love it when people say, "You're so happy." I'm like, I'm not happy. At least I am not a happy person.
mm,
I'm not.
mm,
I have joy. And that's
mm,
Jesus, others, and you. So that's the order that gives me joy because I think that life is very, very hard.
mm,
It really,
right.
really is. We can't catch our
Mm.
breath sometimes.
And when you say that about life being hard and we can't catch our breath, there's some things, there's some words in the Bible about don't be anxious about anything, and how God gives us peace when we choose to not be anxious, and instead He gives us peace and protects our mind with that. And there's another verse that says, cast all your anxiety on God. And I love that because cast is a pretty forceful verb. And I love verbs in the Bible, but that whole thing about casting it, like throwing it
Yeah, it
and getting
reminds
it
me of
far
fishing.
away.
I used to
Oh,
cat when I fished in
right.
Florida, I would just cast. I had to have really heavy sinkers, and
Oh,
I had to throw that over my head.
you helped teach my children how to fish years ago and
Yes.
took them sometimes. But yes, that it takes force. I'm not a big
Mhm.
fisherman, but to be able to cast it and to give that to God, because I can't carry that. I
Yeah.
could not walk through the first Christmas without my
Mm.
mom. You being able to walk through the holidays with losing your twin around the holidays and your mother's birthday, and then some of the things some of the trauma and choices that were made by adults in your life that affected you. And still, you have said, okay, I'm going to drown if I don't push this off.
Well,
And God's the only one who can handle all that. Do you have
absolutely.
any other thoughts on that?
Well, would like to clarify that the first year I was numb, like with Tommy. So
Mm,
when we lose people, uh, some people are just numb. So if you don't remember that holiday, be gentle with yourself. Like, I
mm,
mean, I don't think any of us expected for us to be there for one another. We
mm,
just somehow, we don't remember it. Where were you? It's
mm.
like we were there, but some
It's
trauma.
so shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so for some people, if it's like somebody made decisions for you, it's like, and they're not there, or it's different because now you have two houses and you have to go between two houses, and some people
Right.
have to
And you
go four
did.
more. So it's like,
Mm,
okay, and then because of separations
mm,
within marriage relationships, it's like, where do the children go? And now it's
mm,
maybe the first shared holiday, or somebody has
mm,
custody, or you have to release your child to the person
mm,
that you don't trust. So there's lots of hot pots moving around. But for
mm,
me, I was numb, and it took time. So I say be gentle with yourself, communicate your boundaries. Um, Remember that Thanksgiving really truly, like Lisa you said earlier, it's to be grateful. What are you
Mm.
grateful for? And then cast all your care upon the Lord because he
Mm.
careth for you. And so as we move to Christmas, I do love Christmas. And I think it's
I
absolutely,
love that you can say that after some of the things you walked through as a child.
yeah. I mean, uh, we we have a lot of people that we know in our life that have had traumatic past
Hmm.
between, we're not shy people, right? So I I don't compare. I think to compare is to despair. So I wouldn't minimize the loss
Mm.
of a sibling for somebody else because it wasn't a twin any more than I
Mm.
do for my siblings. They lost their
Any loss,
right.
right, is huge.
But
Right.
just for me because it was like my right arm,
Mm.
initially. But
Right.
as we approach Christmas, it really is about Thanksgiving is about being grateful. And Christmas is not about presents, it's about being present. So be present.
Mm.
And then my greatest present, by the way, was, uh, well, the gift of Jesus. So, yeah, sure, we
Mm.
have, Santa. And by the way, I do love children and they love presents and I love cookies. But you get how I'm pulling all that
There's a
together.
lot in there.
You,
But I like how you said earlier, show up for yourself even
yeah.
and enjoy, and the cookies can be a part of that. But even then being there, showing up for other people, how do you not let thinking about other people at that time of year overwhelm you? You've talked about boundaries and things. Are there any other tips with that? You've said walk away if you need to graciously from a conversation and things. Are there any other thoughts on that?
Well, boundaries protect what we love. If it's a person that loves you, but they just frustrate you, you can actually communicate and say, well, we didn't agree, we didn't think similarly last year, we didn't agree last year, and we probably won't this year, but I'm
Mm.
still glad to see you. And stay a little longer, meaning with the conversation.
Mm.
As soon as some people start talking to us, we like, I can't get out of this conversation fast enough, then you're not really being present.
Right.
Right? So be present for the 2 minutes or 3 minutes that you are interacting with them, and
Mm.
then say, I need to step away.
Mm.
We've often feel
That's
like we have
good.
to like explain why we can't take a phone
Right.
call or it's not a good time. You could just
Right.
say, I need to step away. And
Yeah.
you
That
step
oh,
away.
that's so good. Yeah. And
And
you don't have to apologize or feel guilty about doing so.
no, but that's the thing. That would be like false guilt. Like there's
Mm.
some people that you just enjoy more.
Mm. Right. That's
Like,
so good.
hey, sorry, you don't say it. Hey, I kind of I've been wanting to talk to,
I enjoy
yeah,
that person more.
yeah. Like, is there anybody else that you would like to talk to? Because I see my Aunt Ida over there. I'm on my way over. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like, you can
Oh, that's
just
so good.
be present for that conversation and then
Mm.
let it go. What are they going to do? Grab you by the arm and say, "No, I'm not done talking about this." Well, it
Mm.
depends on the person,
Right.
but But
It is
why
different
leave a
for
party before you get there? Why make all these decisions before you get there and arrive all amped up because
mm.
you're expecting the worst to happen? Why
Mm.
not go for the other people and not let that one person hijack it? That one person hijack the whole room? Are you going to give them that much power? Now I'm sounding like a psychologist. Why?
Well, you are a psychologist, and I love what you just said. Wow, that's really powerful. Kelly, you said one time of plan for the imperfections
Yeah.
because life has a whole lot of imperfections, and the holidays really do, no matter how much we see all the perfection and touched up movies and commercials and whatever. And first of all, comparing is really not great. I know if I compared, the stuff I do is going to fall far short from what a lot of people do. But I love Christmas, and I love loving my people at Christmas and loving other people in different ways. And but that doesn't mean it's going to be the same as other people. It's different for other people. But how do you, prepare for the imperfections, imperfect people, imperfect whatever might show up?
Well, I prepare by preparing. I put a lot of prayer into
Can
it.
you
I really
explain
do.
that?
Well, I just I ask God for help. I truly do. I'm like,
Mm,
I need help
mm,
because you can be subjective. There's objective and subjective. Some people are higher subjective. And that means you're high subjective if you've heard somebody say, it's not personal. You take everything personal. Well, I am a higher subjective person. I do take some things personal. So I have had
mm.
to learn to wrestle that because there are assessments for that.
Wow.
You can find out how subjective or objective you are. And so
Mm,
I say, okay, this isn't personal and I want to be present. Everything is
mm,
not a personal attack. It keeps you high hostile. And then you're just like going in looking for it. I have had to personally say, you know what? If I really want to be others oriented, and I do, then I have to set aside what I am feeling about what are they trying to say.
mm,
And then I use all that energy. And if a high subjective person, then you're like, what did they mean? And you wake up thinking about it, or you drive home. It's like, you could just ask them, can you explain?
mm,
I'm not sure what do you mean by that? And then they're like, yeah. And they, oh, okay, they reframe it. But otherwise, unless you
mm,
say, I'm not sure I understand what you mean.
mm,
What's the matter with saying that? I'm not sure I understand. And then they give you what they mean, and then you leave. Oh yeah, they were just talking about something from work. It has nothing to do with
mm.
you. And then so
Right.
the final thing that I use this remote for, not just a TV. Everybody has a remote that is from a TV that they don't have anymore. This is probably 10 years old, my insignia. And I tell people, just imagine like you have like the movie Click. It's duct taped to your hand, it's glued here. Go into your gatherings and you can pause, you can rewind and ask,
Mm,
could you explain that? I think I misunderstood it because you're starting to feel it like, oh. Or you can, on your way to the gathering and to the tables and to the Christmas trees and to the different homes, you can actually say, you can rewind, play it again. Rewind, play it again.
mm,
No, you can't
mm,
fast
mm.
forward through Christmas. You can't do it.
Wow.
It's against the law.
It's against the law of
You
Christmas.
have, don't miss Christmas.
Enjoy it, right? Step into it. So many of these are intentional choices. I really like that remote illustration of rewind, asking someone to reframe or pause, step away. But we can't fast forward, and we choose to show up or we choose not to show up. And we can't fix everything. But Kelly, I love some of these tips that you've given just of how to walk through when we feel broken. If we feel lonely at Christmas, if we feel, broken, if we feel there's been a relationship, whether it's loss of a loved one or a recent divorce
Yeah.
or something, finances. And we even touched on, if someone doesn't want to go on, what if can you just speak to that person who's like, the holidays are just too much. I don't forget it, the family or friend get-togethers. I just can't do this year, and they are looking for a more permanent way out. What
Okay.
would you say to someone who just doesn't want to go on anymore?
I I've been told that quite a few times in my career as a counselor for 25 and psychologist for 8. And I ask them this question now. So if you are sitting in front of me, if you're listening or observing this, and you're sitting in front of me and you're saying, I don't want to live. That's in essence, I don't want to live. I would ask you this question, and I ask you now. Is it that you truly don't want to live? Do you not want to live? Or is it that you don't want to live this way? If something changed about your situation, would you want to live? And you know what, Lisa? So many people, in fact, I haven't had anybody say, yeah, I really don't want to live. They say, no, I don't want to die. I just don't want to live this way.
Right.
So is it that you don't want to live this way? If something changed about your situation, would you want to live? And they said, yes, every single one of them. And
Wow.
so what can you do about that? Well, I know a risen Savior who overcame and conquered death. And he descended on this earth so that we could have hope. And he will never, ever disappoint you. He has never disappointed me. And I want to let you know that that's the hope that I reach for. And that's what I would encourage you to. That's what I would say to them.
And, I can't help but think of how the Bible, which has such hope all through the pages about every life situation, I jotted this down. It says how Jesus came that they may have life and have it to the full. And so I can't help but think of how walking through the holidays, and you've done this as well with your intentional choices and some of the thoughts you've given us today, even of how to walk through the holidays when we feel broken, that God does offer life. And fully, not just a little, but full, like in choosing intentionally to not be happy, like you said, we're not happy, but to have that joy. And I love that. And that's what Christmas is ultimately all about, that God
Yeah.
sent his only son and that anyone who believes in him will not die, but have life forever, everlasting life, and life for eternity, but life also here on earth. And Kelly, thank you for sharing so much hope with us today and so many tangible things. And I'm going to think about that remote illustration just in my everyday life. What do I need to pause? What do I need to
Get one.
rewind and reframe and clarify, and not to fast forward, but to really choose to intentionally be present in each moment, because there's broken with families and spouses and parents and children and siblings. And in the middle of so much broken, God sent his only son. And I love the hope that can come with that, and a whole lot of hopeful tips that you gave us today. So, Kelly, I hope thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
everything you shared.
Thank you.
I hope you have an amazing Thanksgiving and holiday season and Christmas. And I can't wait to hear about your tree that you get from Tommy's Acre, named
Yeah.
after your brother.
Yeah.
So,
Merry
I love that.
Christmas, Lisa. I am
Thank
thankful
you.
for you.
I'm thankful for you, Kelly. And friend, I'm thankful for you. I really hope you're leaving encouraged and have some hope stepping into this holiday season, and don't feel as broken. I really hope you're leaving feeling that way, and just having a little more that you can say, I choose to step into this way, and this gathering in this way. And thank you to my friend, Dr. Kelly, and her wisdom. And I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, wonderful holiday season, and a wonderful Christmas. See you next time on Thrive in the Mess, friend.